towards a theory of form production. Chaotic, cosmic, coiled, cosmic, developed, cosmic, undeveloped, cosmic bundle, not coiled. Part 1, Infinite Natural History, The Living Forces. Chaos as an antithesis is not complete and utter chaos, but a locally determined concept relating to the concept of the cosmos. Utter chaos can never be put on a scale, but will remain forever unweighable and unmeasurable. It can be nothing, or a dominant something, death or birth, according to the dominance of will or lack of will, of willing or not willing. The pictorial symbol for this non-concept is the point that is really not a point, the mathematical point. The nowhere existent something or the somewhere existent nothing is a non-conceptual concept of freedom from opposition. If we express it in terms of the perceptible, as though drawing up a balance sheet of chaos, we arrive at the concept gray, at the fateful point between coming into being and passing away, the gray point. The point is gray because it is neither white nor black, or because it is white and black at the same time. It is gray because it is neither up nor down, or because it is both up and down. It is gray because it is neither hot nor cold. It is gray because it is a non-dimensional point, a point between the dimensions. The cosmogenetic moment is at hand. The establishment of a point in chaos, which concentrated in principle can only be gray, lends this point a concentric character of the primordial. The order thus created radiates from it in all directions. When central importance is given to a point, this is the cosmogenetic moment. To this occurrence corresponds the idea of every sort of beginning. In other words, procreation, or better still, the concept of the egg. The idea of all beginning, procreation, the primordial cell, set in motion by fertilization, discharge of tension with the complementary, and growing. The mobility can have a formal accent. This means rest in the large form, mobility in the small. Or the accent may be on value. Then we have a mobile greater form with a static small form inside, in the sense of filling. Or the two as a synthesis of the part and of the whole. Then both the great and small forms are mobile. Everything, the world, is of a dynamic nature. Static problems make their appearance only at certain parts of the universe, in edifices on the crust of the various cosmic bodies. Our faltering existence on the outer crust of the earth should not prevent us from recognizing this, for we know that, strictly speaking, everything has potential energy directed towards the center of the Earth. If we reduce our perspective to microscopic dimensions, we come once more to the realm of the dynamic, to the egg, and to the cell. Accordingly, there is a macroscopic dynamic and a microscopic dynamic. Between them stands the static exception, our human existence and its forms. In other words, we, an episode within the whole, an episode subject to strict and compelling necessity, we are constrained by the plumb line, an imperative that crumbles in the directions of egg and death. The static imperative of our earthly being. Ab ovo spatio corporeo. Parts 1. The primordial cell set in motion by fertilization, discharge of tension with a complementary, and growing. 2. Inner space, in the egg, broken into yolk and white. 3. Limit of the thing concept, shell, body. 4. The surrounding space, outer space, the whole, spatio corporeo spatial. That is, spatial body in space. The protogenesis of form. When a linear form is combined with a plane form, the linear part takes on a decidedly active character and the plane a passive character in contrast. If this is carried back to the first genesis of form, it leads to the phenomenon of cell division. Taken productively, the same process signifies growth, and taken destructively, death. Taken abstractly, i.e. detached from life, pictorial events should be evaluated according to their productive capacity. The active part, the line, can accomplish two things by its impetus. It may divide the form into two parts, or it may go still further and give rise to a displacement. 1. Natural order. Concept of illumination in nature, light form. The natural unorganized crescendo or diminuendo. The innumerably subtle tones between white and black. The natural confluence of light and dark tonalities, a vibrato between light and dark. Opposites merge with one another, light form. Only in movement is richness of shade possible. To attain greater precision, you must become the poorer. 2. Artificial order. Analytical subdivision to make light and dark measurable. Subdivision of light-dark movement on a scale of a regulated tonal mixture. The middle steps of the scale need latitude if they are to become perceptible and measurable. The ends stay apart of their own accord. The peaceful character of compromise. I begin logically with chaos. That is the most natural, and I am at ease because at the start I may myself be chaos. Chaos is an unordered state of things, a confusion. Cosmogenetically speaking, it is a mythical primordial state of the world from which the ordered cosmos develops step by step or suddenly on its own or at the hand of a creator. Natural movement from white to black is not unregulated, but unarticulated. It is regulated by comparison with chaos, in which light and darkness are still undivided. It has the natural order of an unbroken flow from one pole to the other. This movement or distribution of tension is infinitely subtle. The minute particles can scarcely be distinguished. A definite orientation is not possible. Position cannot be sharply fixed because the flux, the subtle flow, takes certainty, gently but surely away with it. Natural order in the cosmos, in other words, the natural balance of nature. The partial field from light to dark moves up and down between the poles of black and white. In nature, it is assuredly white that can lay claim to the most primordial activity. White given in nature is light itself. In the beginning, resistance is dead and the whole is without movement or life. We must bring black and summon it to battle against the formless strength of light. Thus we use offensive and defensive energies together or in turn. A living balance between the two poles. This is the task we cannot avoid. The penetration of nature based on black and white, the concept of balanced opposites. In the natural order, white and black are opposite poles. One may also say that the tip of the black base, darkening, extends into the white base, source of light, and conversely. Illumination, maximum brilliance, and darkening are subject to continuous interchange in nature, the rhythm of day and night. Their order and interpenetration are of a natural kind. Movement and counter-movement as a process of compensation between opposites. Artificial order. Impoverished but clearer and more comprehensible. Articulation of the movement from light to dark in measurable passages from pole to pole. What first interests us in the scale of tone values is the abundance of tonalities between the two poles. Rising from the bottom towards the source of light, we feel an increase of unparalleled intensity and breadth between the poles. Below, dark subterranean rumbling. In between, the half shade of underwater, and above, the hiss of brightest brightness. On the scale, the middle steps may be distinguished by weight or critical evaluation. The practical task is this: to fix them in the scale by mixing them or glazing them. In the artificial order, the different degrees of white and black, from darkness to extreme brilliance and elevation or conversely, are analyzed for their augment or diminution in black and white. The intervals are equal in measure, but different in weight. Brilliant equals lighter, dark equals heavier. The scale divides the light-dark tonalities artificially to make them susceptible to measurement. Artificial measurement attaches exact numerical values to the steps, and so gives us a synthetic method of representing the scale of tone values. Separation in the evening, watercolor. Movement and counter-movement, rise and fall, bring a clash of opposites. The gradations of tone value lead to confluence in a silvery vibrato between black and white. Then broad repose may be a deviation from the norm. In Separation in the Evening, 1922, the accent is on the upper of the dark base norms. The darkness moving down is dominant. Examples of the artificial measurement of increase or decrease. 1. Base on top. Rain, Pen and Ink, 1927. 2. Base in the middle. Pagodas by the Water, pen and ink, 1927. Rhythmic change, increase and decrease on the same base. 3. Base underneath. Excerpt from pen and ink drawing City of Cathedrals, 1927. Natural measurement. Increase and decrease. Between them, culmination. Increase or decrease. Artificial measurement. Increase or decrease. Simultaneous increase and decrease. Increase or decrease. Crescendo and diminuendo between the poles of white and black. Striving up and down with accelerated tempo or slipping on and off with retarded tempo on the scale. 1938. Le Rouge et le Noir, oil.